All right, we're in. We're in. Oh, I always do that to give us just a little bit more space of for my intro to play. It's going to cover my face, so I figure I won't talk and just let the intro talk and let the pictures go on in the welcoming in session to begin. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for the last couple of videos. I hope they were good to you. I'm sorry for the end of the last one, the Robert Seffer computer, and what I'm doing just stopped malfunctioning around the 30-minute mark, 31-minute mark. So we didn't get the last 6 or 7 minutes. Maybe I'll do the last 6 or 7 minutes or 8 minutes in a separate video. All right, so we'll work on that or do that, and in the future. But glad you guys are here. Thank you guys for everything. And here I'm talking about alchemy multiple times a week, the functions of it, deep diving in the knowledge of it. It's one thing to know what it says and a little turning gold into mental, but when you really go deeper in it, it really goes into every science connected to energy, frequency, and vibration. And it's also known as the art of ascension and the art of salvation, because the art of ascension is your salvation. So when you start looking at this, it's more than just quoting something because you've heard it and know it and it sounds good and everybody says it, but to really have the knowledge of it is something I've deep dived into multiple practices with this and seeing how this works. So yeah. All right, so let's get into that today. I got a couple of things I want to share, and we'll go from there. So, all right, so this right here is a little chart I got. Let me get this out of my way because this is in my way more than yours. So in alchemical knowledge, the process that we see is a little process of, when we go in there, let me make it a little bit bigger, of the 7-stage process of what alchemy is and how it works. And this is also something that can go through the process multiple times in your life as you go through ascensions. You go through, usually we have the one dark night of the soul, and then that's usually that first stage that we have. The awakening is a dark night of the soul when you get through what really happened, because some people don't know what is really happening because the way they feel in going through that, but it's coming out of the illusions that you've been wrapped in and part of, and now you're getting unwrapped like a mummy, and as you do, you're starting to see the darkness, and it's called the dark night of the soul, of that you really never told the truth, and everything that you believed is starting to turn out that it was not was not the thing, and you're just having this awakening moment, which is powerful, but yet dark in a sense. If you've been through a dark night of soul, many will know you feel alone, you feel dejected, you feel separated, you feel disconnected from others, but this is all the process of the unwinding of all the ego-based belief systems that have been attachments, and all the lies and all the extra dead weight you have on you, which will not allow you to spiritually fly because of belief systems that's now weighed you down. Hence, when I always just say, if you want to get light, you got to get light, right? If you want to get light, you got to get light. Even that, it transfers to many levels, even weight. If you want to get lighter physically, you need to get light. If you want to get light, LIGHT, you need to get LITE, right? This all goes into the process of alchemy, and there's 7 stages, and we're going to go through the 7 stages. So right here we have the Pythagorean cosmic morphology of earth, fire, air, water, and Gaia, which is the universe. It says here in this. You see the cube in earth, the tetragrammaton in fire, the octahedron in air, and the let's see how you say that. The coshedron in in water, and the dodecadron in Gaia, or this would probably be ether or ether. Well, air's over here, but more into that. But anyways, you see, these are the aspects of the in the symbols of the water, fire. See, if you put the fire and water together, that would be your what's been hijacked, and we can call them the Star of David. It's really the fire and water, which is feminine and a masculine, right? And then we even see it with the air and the earth, but with the line through it, just the difference of it. And then we start seeing the elements and the planets here of Mercury, Venus, Earth, right? The moon, and how the symbols are all there in line for it. I would suggest, if you want, go ahead and make a copy of this, like I did. And then I just took a picture and uploaded it here. I looked it up, took a copy of it, and then so it's here to read. And so even going through the 7 stages of alchemical transformation, first we start up here, we start with calcination. Calcination is a process of heating substance over a flame until it turns to ashes, or reduction starts happening. So you already see the very first calcinations connected to the element of fire. This is the birth and rebirth, as we know, even with the phoenix thing, it was the ashes, right? That you would rise from the ashes. And if you look at calcination, it would be that process of the phoenix is even connected in there, is the calcination, meeting a substance over a flame until it turns to ashes, psychologically breaking down the fire elements, breaking down the ego and attachment to the worldly things, to the world being the God of this world, to the worldly system, to the worldly everything that's connected to that which is really not like you, but pretends to be, you know. Pretends to be. So we just kind of see this and notice that calcination is connected right away to fire, because the 7 stages will be connected to 7 elements, and this does rinse and repeat as you go through things, and maybe you don't get all the ashes and it has to be redone on different aspects of yourself. Every time you go to a different level and there's a peak awakening, as you're going through an awakening in an elevation or an ascension, this has to be done. Maybe you're ascending, but it wasn't done thoroughly enough and you have to go through it again. But whether it's the next level or redone again, you're always going to go through the calcination, is the first thing, which is the fire element. Hope you can make your screen bigger and see this. Dissolution, dissolving the ashes of substance through water. So here's your baptism of fire, calcination, and here's your baptism of water, which is dissolution. Dissolution takes the ashes of substance into the water, psychological immersion into the unconscious. Baptism would be, I love this, an immersion into the unconscious through alchemy. That would be very, very esoteric, from washing away your sins because they dunk your body under water, which we get exoteric in the church, right? Through the symbology. I'm not saying, well, I am saying this is really more the truth because it's esoteric than the process of literally getting baptized is really talking about going through the alchemical process, would be the truth of that in a higher realm of consciousness and esoteric, right? Once you start knowing this, you will get connected to this and know this in a greater way and start the process on yourself, because some things are measuring sticks, like how you measure, you know, how with your children you might have put Johnny at 2 years old with so many inches, Johnny at 4 years old, and you have these markers. These are also markers for self and I'm telling you, this is the organization of this, going through this process. So dissolution, and again, the immersion, I'll even do it here, the immersion into the conscious mind releases the control, right? Leading to a resurfacing of parts of ourselves that were hidden. So this is regaining your consciousness, or regaining your memory, coming out of the state of totally not remembering, and there's a word that I'm not remembering, and you guys all know it probably, but that word is really into not having memory, and you're not remembering your past, and we get caught up in that with soul loss, right? So you're actually starting to get parts of your back. You're starting to Humpty Dumpty and put yourself back together, and it's gonna through the fire of burning out all the extra dross. Now it's coming, and then you go into the water dissolution. Now you're able to get your memory back, because remember, water is connected to our memory. Water is memory. Water holds memory. That's why this alchemy is factual science. That they call at one time, they'll say, oh, this is just pseudo. No, the ones calling it pseudo are producing pseudo in the universities. Just going to say it. We don't uncensor stuff here, and this would be the truth. And this is very ancient knowledge. Very ancient knowledge. And so that would be the immersion, or what is it called when we start forgetting? And that bothers me when I can't remember certain words that are very important. Lacking memory does say it, but there's certain word I'm looking at when people start that I talk about here all the times, related to this information and this knowing, right? So we start having this starts being placed back together through the water, and like I said, water is mem. That's why in Hebrew it's mem. Why? Mem is memory. The water holds memory, and there's been, we've seen, I don't know how many of you probably have seen the snowflake test of the water and showing that water holds memory. Yeah. So you see that. I really can't stand that I can't remember that word, but I got to move on to the next thing. So the next is separation. Separation, chemical, right? So the chemical in separation is isolating or filtering the products of dissolution, which was connected to the water. Review surface material decides to separate or to integrate. What parts of our shadows can we learn from, and what hinders us? This is the psychological stuff now that we're going into in this aspect of the separation. We're separating that which is not us, almost that which is actually memories that don't serve us, that need to be separated out, not worth dross, and into what parts of it need to be integrated to our wholeness, or brought back, that we need, that actually fits us and is legitimate and actually is vital to our growth through the process of alchemy, the inner alchemy being done. This is very heavy. I very like this. It sounds like some inner lab work we're doing. Review resurfaced material and decide to separate or to integrate. I love this. So through this process, you're going to say, is this stuff through the dissolution? Is this stuff that you want to integrate, or is this stuff that you want to maybe burn again through this process again to get rid of? Because you're getting rid of the dross, that ego that doesn't serve you, all the stuff that doesn't serve you, that which is not like you, that is ego based, that you don't need, that's not putting that part back together with you. You're cleansing it. This would be the connection of even through this process of going through, being the great cleansing, right? The cleansing that we're going through. We're going through this right now. And this is heavy. I really like this. And then the next one's conjunction. Let's go a little down and we'll go a little bit up. Conjunction. Form a new substance from the separated elements we choose to keep. Merging of the conscious and the unconscious aspects of self to a single essence. The union of dualities allows for true self to merge. This is the great work. This is in the middle of the great work. This right here is the process from the fire to the water to the dissolution to the conjunction, is that we're putting ourselves back together. This is the Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty had to be broken to become an alchemist. How about that for you? We revelate like mad dogs here. We are just open to knowledge. So you think about Humpty Dumpty, which is really an egg shaped. Humpty Dumpty's an egg. So we're talking about eggs now. We're talking about where we come from, the egg, right? The feminine egg, if you want to call it, but just the reality of the egg, which is a reality of what the egg represents, right? It has a protection on the outer, but within is the work, what within the egg, and the transformation of alchemy within the egg is taking place. So when you start putting yourself back together, you're starting to integrate yourself, right? Putting yourself back together. You're integrating those things now into a oneness. As you integrate, you're creating these two opposites. This is the great marriage. This is another part of the great marriage, right? This is the aspect of the great marriage, of these two aspects being now integrated, emerging together in the conjunction. And what was a conjunction? A conjunction is add something so something else can come in the language, right? Conjunctions in English. I remember back in the day when we used to do schoolhouse, people would watch Schoolhouse Rock. Conjunction function, what's your function? And then they would go, what's the function? This is the function of this. Union of dualities allows for true self to emerge. This is getting back to the Truman Show. This is getting back to your true self coming through this process of inner alchemy. As you start deleting things and decreasing things that are not you, ego-based add-ons that are not you, to find the essence of you through the subconscious and the conscious, right? The shadow self and the light self, because part of the fall of us was the splitting of 2 to 1, 1 to 2 now, meaning we got the yin and the yang, the split of the shadow self and the split of the light body, and now these two are now becoming back merged together through the conjunction of one. Heavily good stuff, man. This is really good stuff. Alchemy is a bomb, and those who say, I hear you talking about it, I don't get it. I've been there before, but when I really know I needed to deep in and it came in, alchemy is everything. All these, when I talk about the different disciplines from alchemy to the others, these are all disciplines that were taught in secret societies, mystery schools, which these schools now copied them, not with the information, but with how to pervert it. Come on now. Because if you're going to invert it, it's inversion is perversion, because it's always inverted, right? We even talking now. Trump says he's going to destroy. They're talking about now politically they're going to destroy the education system, and I'm going, oh, we're going to finally get rid of the Rothschilds and Gates system. Are we really going to do that? Sounds good. I don't trust politricks on either side very much at all, because we know what that's always led us to. Because like I said here, government means mind control. That's what the word means in etymology. No, there's no way around it. When you know its function, it does what it's called is its function. So when he says that, it's like there's so much disclosure going on. But let's go back into here. So psychologically, it's taken the dualities that were split. You became dual through the fall and became a dark and light being, a shadow self and a light body self, consciousness, ego, both picking sides, subconscious, unconscious, all these dualities within us happening. And this is emerging through this practice of inner alchemy, merging even through the process of bringing ourselves in the great work, finding ourselves where we were from the beginning and being awakened to it. And there was no beginning, you always were. Think about this. So the next one's fermentation. This is heavy because I was thinking about this the other day, and I mentioned it on a video, one of the recent videos that's seen. I forgot if it was the one about being paralyzed, or the one we have about the vril in your aura with Robert Seffer. Was that the fermentation? You know how our food will last forever now. You can put a hamburger in your car for 2 weeks, and 2 weeks later, your child, if you don't pick it up and clean it, your baby may come in there, your toddler, and eat it, and you're, oh, it's dirty, and then you realize it's not molded. It's because there's chemicals in there that keep it from spoiling, which is not natural because they're chemicals. Fermentation is vinegar used, which is a natural substance, to create a natural fermentation. And let's get into this for food. So fermentation, let's go here. Induced chemical breakdown of the substance with bacteria or other microorganisms. The psychological initiation of spiritual awakening through testing the strength of the solution to first create wine, grapes. What does it say? Must rot. Suffering breeds resilience. Let me read that. Does that say must rot? I'm looking on my paper now. Must rot. Yeah, I guess so. Suffering breeds resilience. Through the process of psychologically awakening through testing the strength of the solution, the fermentation, with bacteria, microorganisms. First, they created physically outward alchemy, creating wine, grapes, and then this represents you going through this process. You're bringing forth fruit through this process, but there's some pain in the awakening dark side of what is it called? Dark night of the soul, where you feel separated through the process because you're giving up that which you realize isn't, but there's some suffering or feeling disconnected from it, that because you've been swimming in the sea a long time and you thought it was the original sea. Now you came to the realization that this is not really the dealy, and it's not really the dealy wop. This isn't the truth. This is the reality. This was a lower level thinking. This was something that appeared to be but wasn't, through my forgetfulness. And I'm still not remembering the word I always use, that we use in alchemy for forgetfulness. What is the word when you can't remember? Gosh darn, Danny, and you're not remembering. But being forgetful, right? And stuff. So yeah, God, I gotta remember that word. Next, we're going into distillation. Boil and condense solution to increase purity. Boil and condense solution. So boil, we know we're going to the water, but we're also adding heat. So water and fire are now even integrated together for the distillation. Say that again. Water and fire are worked together to increase purity. Now the water and fire elements are now working in cohesion, integrated, these two elements, to increase the purity. Purification of spirit, where we make sure the ego no longer controls us, giving us ability to appreciate the beauty of going into collective self, which is the way, and I'm telling you, that's why I keep telling you, as you go higher, the collective self starts being the one, and the individual self on the lower densities dissipates. This is what's dissipating in this process, the duality of you're separated. It becomes more and more as you integrate this through this process of distillation, distillment, right? Distilled water, distilled alcohol. There's all that. This process of distilling with fire and water working together, you create a more purity, which in the psychologically means that ego starts going and going away and dissipating to the point that it no longer controls us, giving us ability to appreciate the beauty. And this is a tough one. You have to taste this. As I keep saying, some of these things you have to experience. I can tell you till I'm blue in the face. This part of the distillation of process is getting you to experience the collective, a little higher, collective, higher. And you experience it. You taste the collective. And you go, oh, my individual's but it's not like, oh, it's wrong, I feel bad. No, you realize I'm connected to it. This feels even actually more original instead of being individual. Powerful, powerful. And we're going to go to the last one. Coagulation. Transformation to a solid state. Making it solid through this process of distillation, the purity. The union of matter and spirit that allows to perceive the world without dualities, and to perceive the life of all levels of consciousness, similar to the state of nirvana. And the end result is the framing, or the result is the, let me see, I don't see it on the end. Let me see where if I can see that. Is the, very small here, the famed philosopher's stone. The process, the what is it? Conjugation, gosh dang, Danny, pronounce that right. Juliation, and I know I'm just smearing that. I'm just hammering that. That's not right. Coagulation, because I know this word. My friend used to say it all the time. coagulation. This process, and this is what's happening as you go more into a collective consciousness, dualities go down. There's some, but now it's very easy to see, and it no longer has the power of this density of dualities, the master on the 3D level that we live in this physical body, till we raise it and go through the process that we just seen, the 7 stages of alchemy. Awesome. Let me go out of here. So that's the 7 stages of alchemy. Like I said, if you can go in there, look it up, you can find it in some light. To have this, it's powerful. And see the 7 stages, which is powerful. You can see how this works through or this is what I'm saying. Going into the next realms is not willy-nilly disorganized. A lot of in the conscious community at the 3D level is a lot of willy-nilly, jilly, and division still, division everywhere. You know, even racial division within the conscious community on stuff still. But the more we dissipate that duality as we raise our collectiveness, the collectiveness is decreasing that, but the harmony in that stage, that coagulation, showing you when you go there, there's a harmony in the collective becoming uno, and duality starts going away and dissipates through the process. You guys have a wonderful day. This was very good. Very good one. I dig it. I was seeing stuff I hadn't seen before, so I really appreciate it. You guys have a good one.